other radio stations listen.
With news from across the Federation, spanning the region and covering the globe. This is the Kiss FM SKN News Now Morning Edition, your one true source for news. And now your presenter.
Glen Barrows International Pest Control provides a comprehensive approach for a pest-free environment for both residential and commercial clients. Our services include lawn spraying and fungus control services to ensure the safety of your family and pets, commercial pest and rodent control, pre-construction soil treatment, subterranean termite control, and tent fumigation. Call Glen Barrows International Pest Control at 465-2935 or 469-5294. Glen Barrows International Pest Control, setting new standards in pest control.
Good morning. Today is Monday, 6th February 2017. I'm Leslie Joseph. This is the SKN News Now Morning Edition, brought to you with the kind compliments of Glen Barrows Pest Control and Guest House. These are the top stories this hour. Nationally, another round of failing grades for Team Unity and the CCM-led Nevis Island administration, this time from Honorable Patrice Nisbet. Regionally, the Grenada Union of Teachers is calling on the Stadium Authority to cut its costs for schools. Internationally, Donald Trump's Muslim ban remains in legal limbo for the moment, and in sport, Alistair Cook has resigned as England Test captain. Now for a look at the stories in detail. On the issue of national security, the federal government and Nevis Island administration are sharing a failing grade delivered by former Attorney General Honorable Patrice Nisbet. The Nevis Reformation Party representative recalled the guarantee of crime reduction and elimination that was given to Kittitians and Nevisians by Team Unity while in opposition.
And we were told prior to 2015 that if you elect us, after 2015, there will be no murders anymore. Crime will become a thing of the past. That is what persons told you in flurry and fancy language. But today, you will realize we have had more murders in 2016 than in 2015. And so, if you are judging this government based upon its record, what you would realize is that when they were in opposition, they were good talkers. And now that they are in the government, they have failed to match up with the rhetoric and the narrative that they sold the general public of St. Christopher and Nevis.
Mr. Nisbet mandated that logical scrutiny reveals both governments to be catastrophic failures in the National Security Department, as they have failed to ensure the safety of citizens and residents.
You must, as a right-thinking and a reasonable citizen of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis, when you come to judge the performance of this government, you have to give them a failing grade on the issue of national security. Have they been able to make you safer in your homes? Have they been able to make you safer in the dance halls, in the discos, in the entertainment spots? Have they been able to make you feel safer at church, in the supermarket, on the streets, on the byways, here in St. Kitts and Nevis? We are less safe in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so the 6-point plan, the 5-point plan, the 10-point plan, the 8-point plan that they have postulated, they have all failed because crime has continued to stark this land and people continue to feel unsafe in the various places that they would go.
Several public sector agencies have joined with representatives from the private sector and trade unions starting today for a workshop to advance efforts in the creation of a regional labor management information system, or LMIS. The LMIS will allow for effective and timely monitoring of changes in employment and unemployment levels in St. Kitts and Nevis, which in turn will influence policy. Acting Commissioner in the Department of Labor, Shernell James, says the data collected will be pivotal in monitoring employment changes for government, employers, and employees in order to devise appropriate employment policies and adjust to varying conditions in the labor market. The workshop, which is taking place at the Ocean Terrace Inn, will field representatives from the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, the St. Kitts Nevis Trades and Labor Union, the St. Kitts Teachers Union, the Department of Labor, the Social Security Board, the Department of Youth Empowerment, and several government ministries. While assisting local institutions in program planning, the information will ultimately be used to shape policy for the Caribbean community. Ms. James noted that when established, LMIS will allow for the proper management of the free movement of people provided for under the CARICOM Single Market Economy, or CSME. The CARICOM Secretariat is spearheading the regional training effort, which is funded under the 10th European Development Fund. The workshop concludes on February 9th. Regionally, the Grenada Union of Teachers, GUT, is calling on the country's stadium authority to be more reasonable about the fees being charged for the hosting of athletic meets, particularly at the primary school level. This comes as concern mounts over the condition of the Roy St. John playing field, which saw a sport meet cancelled on Thursday as a result of its soggy conditions.
It's either we build the stadium only to be used for once or twice for athletics, now and then for football, and then for the fancy bingos and things, or we allow our young budding athletes to use, the grassroots students to use the stadium.
The views of Lydon Lewis, GUT president, on the present condition of the Roy St. John playing field. This was the state of the playing field following the hosting of the St. Louis RC Girls School meet on Tuesday. On Wednesday, the First Choice Junior School cancelled its meet as a result of overnight and early morning rains, which added to the poor state of the grounds. The Ministry of Sports told our news desk that not much can be done at this time about the Roy St. John playing field due to the weather conditions being experienced. But this did not stop frustrated parents from phoning on news desk concerned about the risk involved in having their children use the area. GUT President Lydon Lewis is calling for the intervention of the Ministry of Sports and the Stadium Authority.
Based on the research that I've done, it seems a pretty steep or exorbitant cost for schools to use the stadium. If a small school already starts with a deficit of almost $2,500 to use the stadium, I think it's unreasonable. And our appeal is to the Ministry of Sports and the government of Grenada to meet with Stadium Authority to bring some relief to the schools so that at least the students can host the teachers can host the activity at our premier facility. It would also give our students the opportunity to perform well. It would also attract more people because students would want to be in the stadium for the activity. So we really want the Ministry of Sports and the Stadium Authority to bring some relief to our schools so that they can, at least most of them can use the stadium facility.
The ministry says it has made efforts to accommodate some schools despite the climatic conditions. But Lewis says late preparation of the field did not help the situation.
The athletic season, based on my understanding, should have started in December. So the work that was done earlier this year should have been done way back, probably October, to get the park up to standard. So it's a concern. We're saying to our teachers that we understand the importance of the sporting activities. They would continue to undergo the conditions that exist. But it's not the best for our athletes or for parents to feel comfortable that their children is safe.
GBN on Wednesday was unable to reach Stadium Authority officials for comment on the issue.
The debate over the proposed establishment of the J.O.F. Haynes Law School in Guyana continues to attract contributions from prominent legal minds who all feel strongly about the school. Sean Embrick reports.
The establishment of a law school in Guyana is a decades-old proposition which Attorney General Basil Williams has taken up and made significant progress. But in recent weeks, the proposed law school came in for a tongue-lashing from former AG Anil Nandlall. Now, two legal minds, leaders of the AFC, have their say. Here's leader of the AFC, Raphael Trotman, in support of the venture.
And so this matter is not a new one. What we have is an Attorney General, a new Attorney General, who has taken it up again and has made more progress than the last Attorney General.
The AFC leader rebuffed former Attorney General Anil Nandlall's claim of an uncertified law school being pursued without the certification from the Council of Legal Education, CLE.
Jealousy. And that is the problem.
The
matter was discussed as recently as last week before the Council of Legal Education at a meeting held in Jamaica. We can't have a law school that is not accredited by the Council of Legal Education. And so it is ludicrous to assume that we are going to set up our own homegrown institution called a law school and ignore the fact that we have a Treaty of Chaguaramas, that we have a CLE system. And so everything has put us on a path to working with the Council of Legal Education.
Trotman also had some strong words for the former Attorney General.
We are not ignorant of the process. We are not unwilling to participate in it. And I think Mr. Nandlall has to recognize that he's not the only one with a little brain in Guyana. I look at him and sometimes I think, he believes that his opinion is the only one, and he's the only person that the great God gave some modicum of intelligence to. It is unfortunate to find that kind of thinking.
In support of his colleague, Chairman of the AFC, Kemraj Ramjatan, ridiculed the objection by Nandlall.
My personal view is that he continues to make some extraordinarily ludicrous remarks. And as a lawyer, not to want to fight for having a law school in Guyana also has dropped him many rungs in my view. And so he can continue to say what he wants to say. We are in need of a law school in Guyana. We have discussed that on many occasions. And there are many years, and I see nothing in violation of the Treaty of Chaguaramas that we could not surmount.
The AFC leader and chairman concurred that Guyana is well positioned in the Caribbean and South America to set up such a school. Guyana is one of the three largest territories in CARICOM and is without a law school, unlike Jamaica and Trinidad.
On the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump is facing an escalating legal battle over the implementation of his controversial travel ban. It suffered another setback over the weekend after the Federal Appeals Court denied a government request to reinstate the ban on travelers from several Muslim-majority countries as well as refugees. James Bays reports.
President Trump has made it very clear he won't back down on his immigration ban. For the safety of the country, we will win, he said, as over the weekend he attended a gala dinner in aid of the American Red Cross, an organization that helps refugees, people who, if he wins his legal action in the coming hours, would be banned from the U.S. Men, women and children from 7 predominantly Muslim countries, all who have valid visas and have been vetted, have been arriving at U.S. airports after the ban that would have prevented their travel was temporarily halted by federal judge James Robart. Vice President Mike Pence was questioned in an NBC interview about a tweet in which Trump called him a so-called judge.
I think people find it very refreshing that they not only understand this president's mind, but they understand how he feels about things. He expresses himself in a unique way. And again, the judge's actions, look, the judge's actions in this case in Washington, which are at odds with a federal district court judge in Boston who upheld the constitutionality of the president's actions, the judge's actions in this case, making decisions about American foreign policy and national security, it's just very frustrating to the president, to our whole administration.
Another issue, again, is also causing controversy. During the campaign and now as president, Trump has seemed reluctant to criticize Russia and President Putin. There is unease, including from some Republicans, about his latest comments.
Putin's a killer. A lot of killers. We got a lot of killers. Why do you think our country's so innocent?
There may be a few more clues about the administration's foreign policy when the president leaves the resort club he owns here on Monday. He'll travel from Mar-a-Lago to the other side of Florida for a visit to Central Command, the U.S. military headquarters that controls its operations in the Middle East. James Bays, Al Jazeera, Palm Beach, Florida.
The government of Greece is coming under increasing pressure to improve conditions for refugees after a spate of deaths at an overcrowded camp. As many as 60,000 refugees are awaiting asylum claims across the country after the doors to Europe were shut last year.
For Ahmed, the news that 3 migrants at the Moria camp recently died is sad, but not surprising. The 28-year-old Syrian refugee used to live there and remembers the dire conditions well.
Even if you want to go to the toilet, you've got to wait half an hour for your turn. And it's the same thing for the showers. If you want to take a shower, you have to wait an hour or two. There's no hot water, it's cold water.
Ahmed, who now lives in a local hotel, feels lucky to have been relocated from Moria. But he's also keenly aware how much things have worsened for the thousands of refugees still there.
There are people there who aren't eating because they're so depressed and need psychological help. They go to the doctor and say, just let me out of here, because they feel like they are in a prison.
Moria, which is a former military base, has been much criticized for failing to meet basic humanitarian standards. In an effort to improve living conditions, the United Nations Refugee Agency is assisting the Greek government to move hundreds of migrants and refugees.
One of the objectives is to replace the refugee housing units and the tents by containers. In order to do so, we need to make space in Moria to avail the works to start.
Some are being taken to other parts of the island. Others are journeying just across the street to an area known as the Olive Grove. Originally intended for recreational activities, it will now act as a sort of mini-camp for these already displaced people who are being uprooted yet again. The Greek government has launched an investigation into the recent deaths and pledged to improve the situation for refugees and migrants here on Lesbos. But aid workers tell us the problems go beyond just the bad conditions inside camps such as Moria. Another major cause of concern is the slow asylum process and the toll that is taking on waiting refugees.
We are seeing people that are not only physically sick, but mentally they are crushed people. They are victims of this EU-Turkey deal, which is absolutely stopping them from moving on and from being able to seek safety.
At a rally near Moria, refugees and residents protested the harsh conditions and called for EU action to prevent more deaths, to ensure more aid. By nightfall, the demonstrators were marching, demanding the Greek government do far more to provide those most vulnerable with the protections they so desperately need. Mohammed Jamjoom, Al Jazeera, Lesbos, Greece.
And now we take a look at sports. Alistair Cook has resigned as England Test captain after a record 59 matches in charge. The 32-year-old Essex batsman took the role in August 2012 and led his country to Ashes victories in 2013 and 2015. However, during last year's 4-0 Test series defeat in India, he admitted to having questions over his role. Cook is England's highest run scorer in Test cricket with 11,057, while his 140 Test appearances and 30 centuries are also England records. England and Wales Cricket Board Director of Cricket Andrew Strauss, who Cook replaced as captain, says his successor was owed a great debt of gratitude by his country. The ECB has started the process of selecting Cook's successor, with his fellow batsman Joe Root regarded as the favorite. And that item brings us to the end of the Kiss FM SKN News Now Morning Edition, brought to you with the kind compliments of Glen Barrows Pest Control and Guest House. Join us again at 5:45 for our comprehensive evening news package. I am Leslie Joseph.
Glen Barrows International Pest Control provides a comprehensive approach for a pest-free environment for both residential and commercial clients. Our services include lawn spraying and fungus control services to ensure the safety of your family and pets, commercial pest and rodent control, pre-construction soil treatment, subterranean termite control, and tent fumigation. Call Glen Barrows International Pest Control at 465-2935 or 469-5294. Glen Barrows International Pest Control, setting new standards in pest control.
Check this out.
Yo, we don't know, so we're keeping it locked to Kiss FM.